Good morning, everyone. Today is the day of the throne speech, and that's the first test of confidence for this government that was elected on October 21st. And that was more than a month ago. This is a long time to wait. I know that we got our cabinet at the end of November there, but still, it seems like a long time to wait. Trudeau was in London, and he's had some plane and travel issues, so I thought we'll start with that. Here we go. National Post is reporting Trudeau's plane damaged, now backup plane grounded in London, and this is yesterday. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's bad luck with planes continues. He was forced to use a backup aircraft Monday to ferry him to London for a NATO summit because the usual prime ministerial jet was damaged in a hangar accident last month. But after he got to London, the Royal Canadian Air Force discovered a problem with one of the engines on the backup plane during a post-flight inspection. The RCAF says that the plane, a CC-150 Polaris, is being repaired but is temporarily unserviceable. So the RCAF has commandeered another CC-150 Polaris, which was in Italy with Governor General Julie Payette, who has been on a European tour of her own, to take Trudeau, his entourage, and accompanying media back to Ottawa. Another plane will have to be found to bring Payette home in time to read today's speech from the throne to open the new session of Parliament. So I just wanted to point that out. There's travel issues plaguing our government, and hopefully the throne speech goes off without a hitch today. I don't know what time it's going to be on, but I'll probably cover it later on today or maybe tomorrow. We'll see. My pace of videos has slowed, but now that Parliament's back, I might have to go back to 2 videos a day. We'll see. Anyway, Global News is reporting Ottawa failed to spend almost $8 billion in promised defense cash over recent years. This is notable because Donald Trump, who's the leader of the United States, president of the United States, is asking for the 2% that Canada promised for defense spending. And there are consequences if we ignore the most powerful man in the most powerful country in the world. Right? Right. So here we go. Global News is reporting. Ottawa has failed to spend almost $8 billion in promised defense cash over the last 2 complete fiscal years. That's 2017, 2018, 2019, right? We're 2019, 2020 now, right? So that's all Liberal territory, all of it. There is no Stephen Harper here, just to make sure we're all clear on that. Here we go. According to documents obtained from the Department of National Defense, the federal government underspent roughly $7.79 billion worth of promised money, mostly for capital projects, which include everything from spending on facilities to equipment and military procurement in fiscal 2017-18 and 2018-19. The unspent money also came from areas including operations and maintenance, these documents dated from February 2019 suggest. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked by Global News about that failure to spend the promised amounts during a press conference on Wednesday from the NATO meeting and pointed the finger at past governments. Quote, one of the things Canadians know is that we need to be spending money properly on the men and women of the armed forces, and procurement processes have been significantly damaged by the previous government, and we got them into a much better place. Is he talking about taking Mark Norman to court for leaking the secrets that he didn't leak and then paying him off when he was right and the government was wrong, and then paying his legal fees retroactively as well? Is that what Mr. Trudeau's talking about? Oh, right, the Mark Norman scandal went away. It's really interesting because this is done by the Trudeau government, and it's not like there weren't rampant shortages, right? Like this is June 5th, 2018. It says CTV News is reporting soldiers ordered to return sleeping bags, rucksacks due to shortfall of equipment. Now, I wanted to highlight this. The military says, and the Canadian government says, quote, this is not seen as a shortage, but rather an internal redistribution within the CAF, Salom explained in a written statement. The Can-Forgen is intended to get this equipment into the hands of those that need it most. Several CAF units have been exempted from the order, however, including all Special Forces personnel, though if they are not actively using the recalled gear, the CAF is urging them to return it. It's not a shortage, but please return everything you possibly can. Back to the article. Although the CAF is denying that the order is related to equipment shortages, on May 30th, Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan revealed that the federal government spent $2.3 billion less than planned on new military gear in 2017. So what's your number, Trudeau? How much are you spending on military and on your military? And is it increasing to the 2% that is agreed upon by NATO? Oh yeah, we're 1.35, 1.4. Oh, what does Trump say about that? Hold on, here we go.
Well, he's two-faced.
I had that in yesterday, and people said, I love Trump. He's really funny. And I said it was insulting. And listen, Trump's hilarious. And that was very funny. And the whole way he lets this play out. So like the reporter asks another question and then he goes back and says, I think Trump's a really nice guy, or Trudeau's a really nice guy, blah, 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 blah. I thought it was really funny because he's definitely calling him out, right? He's definitely calling him out. And that's what he wanted reported. And I mean, yeah, funny, but it is not a good thing when the United States is your biggest trading partner, when Trump makes you pay for your mistakes, and specifically when it's a personal attack. And, you know, Justin Trudeau is sitting there guffawing it up about long press conferences. Well, I mean, people want the president of the United States to answer questions. If Trump never answered questions, he'd be saying, oh, can you believe he never answers questions? It'd be the same thing. You can never win. And so, yeah, two-faced is definitely how you put it. And here's NDP leader Jagmeet Singh confirming what Trump said. Like, yeah, Trudeau's kind of two-faced. I'm sorry if it's not loud enough. The link is in the description if you want to watch it again. Well, here we go.
About Mr. Trudeau is that he certainly says some things in public and then says things very differently in private. Very different approach in public and very different approach in private. And that's something that I've said before. There's many reasons to criticize Mr. Trump, but criticizing about making someone late to a cocktail party is not one. And these two Mr. Trudeau's in public and private is something that I've seen many times, and I think Canadians are starting to see more and more.
Right. And it's interesting, right? On one side, Mr. Trump experienced it differently. We weren't talking about him. Oh, we were talking about him. Did you see? There was a whole, so this article here goes into the whole Trump thing, and it's got Trudeau did a press conference as well, talking, like answering the questions. What were you talking about? So Boris said we weren't even talking, like Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, said we weren't even talking about Trump until Trudeau confirmed, yes, we were talking about Trump. Sometimes teams have things that make their jaws drop on the floor. This is the answer to the question. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, what are you going to do, right? You've got the leader of the NDP saying, yeah, he's two-faced, but I'll work with him anyway. Watch them all vote for the confidence in the government, right? Two-faced Trudeau, but I'll work for him anyway. And Trump just laying it out there. I mean, good job, Mr. Trump. Really. Nobody in Canada calls out Justin Trudeau. So, well, not many people anyway, so thank you. Here is the last story for this morning. The former SNC Lavalin executive on trial for fraud and corruption, not presenting a defense, but he pled not guilty. So it's interesting at least, right? A former SNC Lavalin executive on trial for fraud and corruption has opted not to present a defense. Lawyers for Sammy Babawi informed the jury of their decision on Tuesday, meaning the evidence is complete and the accused won't testify. Babawi, 73, faces 8 charges, including fraud, corruption, laundering of proceeds of crime, possession of stolen goods, and bribery of foreign officials. Mr. Babawi won't present a defense, lawyer Annie Edmond said simply. Justice Guy Courier, sorry if I've got that wrong, Coroner? Excuse me if I've got that wrong. I probably got it wrong. Reminds jurors of an earlier directive that was up to the Crown to prove the charges against Babawi beyond a reasonable doubt, and that Babawi wasn't obliged to present a defense. The prosecution presented its final witness last Friday. I scroll down. Babawi was charged in 2014 following an RCMP investigation into what the Crown has described as a case of international fraud and corruption. Jurors will return to hear final arguments from the Crown Monday and from the defense Tuesday before being sequestered midweek after final instructions from Cornier. Maybe that was better. And I asked on Twitter, I said, SNC Lavalin trial defendant puts up no defense. Why? And it says it in the article. This is an explanation from the article. Basically, they're saying it is incumbent on the government to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did what they're saying that he did, the bribery, the corruption, all that stuff. And they've done a good job. They've got his right hand, his 2 people that he relied on for laundering the money, saying, yeah, we laundered the money for him through these companies here, and we bought this yacht. Like, they did a pretty good job, I think. So not putting up a defense seems to say that he's guilty, except for the fact that he said he wasn't guilty. So, and Bill Tufts, I know Bill, he's a good guy. He responded to me, he said, SNC Lavalin trial defendant puts up no defense. He was paid off to avoid a trial. A trial would uncover the corruption and criminality at SNC. It would also implicate co-conspirators, known as biting the bullet. So is he falling? So that's one theory, right? Is he falling on his sword to protect the co-conspirators? Is there more to this? And if this guy is thrown to the wolves, then maybe the wolves will be satisfied and the rest can carry on their merry way. Who knows? I don't know. And neither does Bill. It's just speculation. I mean, it's Twitter after all. But interesting stuff, right? Like, is that how justice works? Is that how it's supposed to work? Can somebody launder all this money and then sacrificial lamb and the rest is just kind of brushed under the rug? Yeah, it was all him. It was all him. All him and his co-conspirators and the yacht. Seems a little tied off with a bow, doesn't it? Just a little bit too neat and tidy. No collateral damage? No, nothing else? I don't know. Anyway, my Peter Tingle. I thought that movie was hilarious. Okay, that's enough for me today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out CanadaPoly.com and have a wonderful, wonderful day.